All right, welcome into Hawk Talk. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Another episode of the Coaches Show. Augusta RiverHawks. Head coach Brad Ralph with us today. Coach, how you doing?
Hey, Billy. Doing good.
Good. A good weekend, and we'll kind of jump right in things here. Talk to me a little bit about what you think. It was a 3-3 weekend where you had 3 games, right, back to back. Thursday, it was 4-1 loss in Columbus, and then you come right back Friday and Saturday with a couple of wins, one at home, one on the road, both against Fayetteville. I'm sure those guys are loving you now after that weekend. Before we get into real specifics, tell us what you thought about the weekend overall.
Well, for the most part, I was pretty pleased that we went 2-3, 2 for 3. So initially, very disappointed with our game in Columbus. I thought one of our poorest games of the year. We came out hard, and I thought we showed them early on that we're a better team. But I thought over the course of the game, our turnovers and our mental mistakes kind of took a toll, and we ended up losing 4-1. But the great thing about hockey is we came back the next night at home, and obviously we had a great game at home, beat Fayetteville 2-1. Jordan McLaughlin stepped up, had a great game. And then obviously we went into Fayetteville Saturday night, and we snuck out 2 points. So overall, a great weekend. Yeah,
and you mentioned Jordan McLaughlin. Wow, kind of an emergence for him. Friday night, 31 saves, and did a heck of a job, and then came right back the next night to do it again and get another win. He didn't have that great a start to the season. What's different about him now? Why is he so effective all of a sudden?
Well, I don't think there's much different with him. I know, John Oltice and Jordan McLaughlin have a great relationship. Brian Taffy and I were watching them the other day in Columbus. They were doing some warm-up drills together, and it's just really rare to see 2 guys that are competing for the same position actually trying to help each other get better. So, great to see. John actually played well in Columbus, made some big saves to keep us in it, but really pleased that Jordan played so well, especially Friday, and got 2 wins for us this weekend.
Yeah, and then the other guy that kind of stood out to me was on defensive zone was Luke Lusick, who had a pretty good weekend. A 4-point weekend for him. 2 assists Friday, a goal and an assist Saturday. And he's got the second most assists on the team, I guess, short of Matt Offrey. How has he been doing? How big has he been in the defensive zone for you guys?
Well, Luke's been a horse for me all year. He probably doesn't get the credit due just because he's playing against the other team's top lines, and he just logs so many minutes that he will make mistakes at times. But for the most part, he's been a horse, and really fortunate to have him.
All right, well, good deal. Then you move on to Saturday's game. Another situation where you get down. You're down 2-0, and no offense, but that first period has been a problem for you guys this season. Where just looking at the numbers, which are kind of starting to add up a little bit. 46 goals scored this season for you guys, which is about 15 goals per period. Only 6 goals in the first period. You guys seem to kind of fall behind. Fortunately for you, you've been able to come back and make some dramatic wins, which I guess are fun for the fans. As a coach, that may be tough to deal with, having to try to come back from deficit after deficit. But what's that been like? I guess it's a little bit frustrating to get down, but then you got to be pleased with the way the boys have been able to come back pretty consistently, I guess.
Yeah, I know we've been talking about this all year, but we are a young team. We don't have a whole lot of experience up front, so I think for the most part we come out strong. I wouldn't say that we're not ready, or we don't work hard in the first period. I think for the most part we dominated most of the first periods, but if sometimes the puck's not going in, it's not going in. But I think I'm pleased with their stick-to-itiveness, or however you want to put it, but they keep on it, and I think over the course of 60 minutes our true colors shine.
Do you make a lot of adjustments during the game? You see something's not working, does that happen often, or do you try to stick to the game plan as much as possible?
No, for the most part, we stick to the game plan. Whether or not the guys are executing, that's another story, but certainly our systems are kind of designed to be aggressive, kind of cautiously aggressive. So it's really our systems. You can play our systems At any point, whether you're up or down, there's plenty of support, and barring any bad decision, there's really no. We're not giving up much. So, no, I didn't change it up. I just thought, especially in Fayetteville, in the third period, guys really keyed on the system, started dumping the puck, chipping it out, and those little things over the course of our season will make a big difference, because I believe we have the talent. So.
Yeah, and it's paid off. You guys are 7-7 now, 14 points, and you're in the top half of the league, which is good. And I don't know that it's necessarily, it may be too early to start looking at the standings too much, but it can be an important time for you. One other thing I wanted to bring up about Saturday's game, which was interesting, the league sent out a press release today about Saturday's game. And it's about Fayetteville's Rob Sick, who scored one goal in that game, and of course it was a loss for Fayetteville, but he broke the SPHL record for goals in a career now, 223 career goals for him, and they send that out bragging about that. Of course, Augusta was the team that won that game, but you've seen this guy now so much, and he scores a lot. He leads the league in goals scored again. What is it about that guy that makes him so good, and how do you game plan against him? Is there anything that works or hasn't worked? What do you think about that guy?
Well, he's a very talented offensive player. He's constantly thinking about offense, and defense is not in his game, and which is a benefit to us as long as we shut him down. The guys that are shutting him down will be rewarded for it in their zone, because he's constantly looking for the breakaway or the easy play. So he'll get his goals, there's no doubt, but I think in the end it's better for us, his style.
And I think that's a theme we've seen with Fayetteville this year, is they're a very offensive-minded team, I guess. So maybe you can take advantage of that, and of course you did that this weekend with 2 wins against them. Looking ahead, this week now, 2 games in 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Friday you start out on the road, you're at Knoxville, and then Saturday playing host to Columbus here at James Brown Arena. And what do you think about these games? They're teams who are below you in the standings. I think you've said before you can't underestimate anybody in this league, but what are your expectations going into this weekend?
Well, right now we're just dealing with some injuries, some guys that are sick, and some other stuff. So I'm just trying to get through the week with the healthy squad here. Like you said, it is early. We're not looking at standings thinking, hey, we're better than anyone. 1 or 2 games and everyone's back to even. So every team's constantly trying to make moves to get better, and I think Knoxville especially has done that. So it's going to be a tough weekend. We've got to be ready to go in there and battle and squeak out a couple more points. Yeah, and there is stuff you're dealing with this weekend. I think this probably will be breaking news for some people out there, or news to them. You lost a defenseman today, Brett Dickinson, decided to retire and no longer with the team. What does that do for you? I know defensively you guys are short now, and talk about how you're going to work that into this weekend, or maybe you're still trying to figure that out. Yeah, I mean, it's very unfortunate for our hockey team that Brett decided to kind of hang the skates up. I'm sure it was a tough decision on his part, but he was a big part of our defensive core. He's a very stable defenseman for me, and I could play him against any line. So it's going to be difficult to fill his skates, right away, especially. But that's life. There's, they have some players have other intentions. So, but I guess in the end, it will be better for it if guys' heart isn't in it. Then we'll bring guys that are committed to our team. So we got to fill some holes for sure. Yeah, and moving on, looking at this schedule coming up now, like you said, you're on the road Friday, you're at home Saturday, and once you come home on Saturday, you're at home for a long time. The next. Not this weekend, but the weekend after that, there's no road games. It's all at home. Do you see that as a benefit for the team? Obviously, this is a good part of the schedule, I guess, where you get to be at home. You don't have to go on the road. Eventually, you're going to make up for that, where you're going to have to go on the road quite a bit. But what do you think about this stretch of games that are all going to be at home? Yeah, I mean, from my end, I wouldn't say it's ideal. sometimes it's good just to get out on the road and get away from everything at home. But, hopefully we can go into this stretch healthy and kind of riding a high and, bring some more wins to our home crowd.
All right, well, that's head coach Brad Ralph. Thanks for coming on the show, being super dad today, and a bunch of other things. Thanks for coming on the show, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Be right back with our second segment. Center Chris Ferazzoli on Hawk Talk. All right, welcome into Hawk Talk. Welcome back. I want to say thanks again to Somewhere in Augusta. Somewhere in Augusta Sports Bar and Grill, now featuring NHL Center Ice. All your favorite NHL games. Just come out here and look at all these TVs. Man, they're going to have some hockey on here. Whenever you want. Favorite team right there. Right here somewhere in Augusta, the official sports bar of the Augusta RiverHawks. I want to welcome in our next guest, Center Chris Ferazzoli. Chris, thanks for coming. All right, Chris, like we do with every player, we've got 4 questions for you. We're going to ask you right off the bat to get to know you a little bit and get you settled in. Number 1 of the 4 questions is, what is your greatest hockey memory? Something that could have happened at any level since you've been playing as a little kid all the way up to the pro level. What is your favorite hockey memory?
I would have to say, well, personally, it was being named to the World University Game team in 2003. Anytime you get a chance to represent your country, it's a big honor and something that I always look forward to. And was definitely fortunate enough to do that. And then I would say as a team, I had left Cincinnati, I believe it was 08-09, came back to play in New Jersey, and we won a championship there. And it's just a great group of guys, and anytime you can win a championship at any level, it's something special that you'll never forget.
Yeah, very nice. And then in that, when you represented, when you're on Team USA, was it Italy you played in? Did you play anywhere else?
Yeah, it was in Tarvisio, Italy, which was kind of nice. I got to see some family. My father was born in Italy, right outside of Rome. But they made the trip up. It's about 5.5 hours, and it was just nice to be there and get to go overseas. And we got to play the Czech Republic, Finland, Canada, which was unbelievable. We had about 8,000 fans in the stands, so it was nice. And then Japan and Italy the last game, so it was something I'll never forget.
Very cool. Always good when you can beat those Canadians, right? Yeah, absolutely. All right. Moving on. Worst hockey injury. Something you remember because of the pain. How did it happen? How long did it take to recover? Tell us about it.
Well, when you asked me this when I first got here, I was going to say I've never really been hurt until now. When we were in Knoxville, I just moved the wrong way, tried to cut back, and something kind of popped in my groin, and it's just been nagging ever since. It's kind of tough when you rely on your skating. Being a smaller player, that's all I got really. So it's been frustrating playing on one leg, and when you think it's making progress, one little move the wrong way, and it's right back. But it was my first year in Cincinnati. I don't really remember it. I just got knocked out cold, so I woke up, and it wasn't painful at all. I just took a nice long nap, and woke up, I was fine. Just happened to walk into some walls for a couple of months, and depth perception was a bit off. But those are the only 2 times.
And you were on the ice when this happened?
Yeah, I got remember
hit. How it happened?
I don't remember anything from the day at all. It's a little scary, but I guess I got hit from behind, and just woke up in the car, and the only thing I remember was repeating myself over and over to our trainer. And I kept apologizing, like, I know I just asked you this, but he goes, don't worry about it, it's going to happen for a bit, and sure did.
Okay, wow. All right, well, moving on, game day ritual, something that you do before every game to get ready to go on the ice.
Well, usually just, my day is pretty simple. I like to get back from morning skate and then eat somewhere around noon and get at least a 2-hour nap in. I want to be up about an hour or so before I have to get to the rink. And as soon as I wake up, I'll shower, and there's one song that I listen to. It's probably something none of you have ever heard. It's trance music, which actually a lot of people don't like. But it's one song. It's probably been the only song on my iPod since I got it. I got her quite a few, but That's pretty much the only superstition I have.
Okay, whatever works. Every player who's been on the show so far has said they take a nap sometime during the game. 2 hours is impressive. Not everybody says 2 hours.
I'm a little older, so I need the rest.
Yeah. I don't blame. If I could get a 2-hour nap during the day, I'd take it. Why not? Yeah. And whatever works, absolutely. Okay, and then the fourth question, which is the wild card, and we're going to keep this question throughout the whole month here, because it is now that Thanksgiving is over, it's officially Christmas season now. I guess it's not even December yet, but it is Christmas season. What's your best Christmas gift you got as a kid, or just a Christmas memory from your childhood?
As a kid, I can't really complain about any Christmas. I was kind of a spoiled brat. Still am, actually. But my grandparents were always real good to me. And I would probably say when my grandfather put a hockey stick in my hand, and I was really young, but I'll never forget it. And I actually, until that point, I liked soccer because my dad, obviously being from Italy, he had played growing up, but. Yeah, we would go up to the Poconos. My grandparents had a house there, and we used to go out on the rink there, and they taught me how to play hockey, and I just fell in love with it. So.
Okay. Yeah. Only child?
No, I have a younger sister. She's 26.
Okay. Well, just usually when you're spoiled, you're an only child. Not to make vast generalizations out there, and I apologize to the only child out there. But no, it's one thing to be spoiled. It's another to know that you're spoiled. So we appreciate that.
Be honest, though.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for answering the four questions. And we're talking with RiverHawks center Chris Ferazzoli, and Chris coming to us from New York, I believe, New York, or somewhere around in there. How did you get started playing hockey? I guess there was that Christmas gift of a hockey stick, which is always a good start. And playing soccer, did that carry over at all to playing hockey? Hockey's a lot more exciting. I know that.
For sure.
But was there anything that you brought from soccer that helped you in hockey?
Yeah, I think in soccer you have to always be on the move. It's I know sometimes it can look like a lazy game, watching on TV, but it really isn't. It's all about moving the ball and moving to the open spot to get it back. And in hockey, it's the same way, especially the way I like to play. I like to move the puck quick, get to an open spot, and get it back. And I just think it's the easiest way to play this game. Use your teammates, and But I would say, that was probably the only thing I took from soccer. And then, because when I was young, I played forward, and then actually when I played in high school, I turned to goalie.
Oh wow!
So really, the sport got much more boring. And, but it was a fun sport, but definitely not for me.
You ever tried goalie on the ice?
One time.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Never do it. Not good. I got hit right in the head. I did it in college in Delaware, and first shot, my line mate comes down, smokes me right in the head, and I got right off the ice. I don't know how they do it. I give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it either. It's impressive. But all right, well, you found your spot because you're an excellent center, and we talked about being at college, Sacred Heart, and then University of Delaware, and then even playing well enough to where you get to represent your country, which is pretty cool as well. So you do all that, you have a good time, but then you make a pretty tough decision after college where things didn't quite work out for you at the moment. Tell us what happened. You kind of walked away from the game for a little while. What happened there? What was that decision like?
Yeah, I think it was just a matter of my junior and senior year were just so clumped together. I never really had a break, and I felt pretty fried from hockey. Summer, it was my junior year, and then right into the summer I had to keep training and skating because the tryouts for that World University Games team were out in Iowa. I believe it was end of June. So just went right in from that, and then had to go to a training camp. And I didn't get a Christmas break that year because we had another camp right before we left for the games, and so I think it was a combination of that and just summertime. Hockey's such a long season anyway. The last thing you want to do in the summer is continue to work out. You want a little break. And I started working for my father. He's got his own pipe and heating company, and just it was nice to go from a poor college kid to making some money for a change. And,
sure.
So I just at that stage of my life, it was time for a change. And I was going to go play in France, and a couple of days before I was supposed to leave, I just made the decision not to. And I guess everything happens for a reason, because I think I'm definitely, the 4 years went by, and I lost certain things, but also gained a little bit of maturity as a player and some strength. So.
Yeah, well, and for 4 seasons, you're just not playing. 3 or 4 seasons, you're not on the ice at all. You can make the decision, okay, I'm going to come back. But after sitting out for that long, that's, physically that's tough. Why did you decide to come back? Because I'm assuming you had a job there. I mean, you were working and stuff. There's a love of the game there, but sometimes love isn't enough. Why would you come back?
Well, I had been working for my father, and things were a bit slow. We had just built a house, and the family that bought it from us, the wife had worked for the NHL for 13 years in New York City. And so she saw me, we were chopping up the sidewalk to redo it. And she saw my t-shirt, it was a hockey t-shirt, and she asked if I would be interested in doing an internship with the NHL for the All-Star game. And that really just got my interest back in hockey. Working there was an unbelievable experience. I mean, there were TVs, it was kind of like this, except hockey on each screen, and anytime you can works in a place like that, it's pretty cool. So I started getting the itch then, and I was very close with my aunt Stephanie, and she had always told me to go back, and I had always wanted to, but I knew it was 4 years would be tough, and she ended up passing away in a car accident, and just kind of shook me up pretty good, and I just, life is way too short, and I didn't want to have any regrets, so I started working out quickly. I went to free agent camp, and I'll never forget my first shift. The puck stopped right by the Zamboni door. It was in a puddle, and I just looked down, I looked up, and there's a guy barreling down on me. I moved the puck as quick as I could, and I got blown up. And after that, I settled in, and actually had a pretty good camp, and that's about it.
There you go. Well, cool. Well, obviously, I think everyone here is pretty happy you decided to come back to the game.
Thanks.
And it's been working out pretty well. Hard to believe we're already out of time. Of course, we'll have you back on the show later in the season. But real quick, just tell us what you think about this RiverHawks team and how things are going at this moment.
We got a great group of guys in pro hockey. It's tough when you can to find a team that meshes so well, on and off the ice, and it's tough. Every other team they got a core group of guys that have played together for at least a year, and so we're kind of playing catch up, but doing a pretty good job. And when you have a good chemistry, good relationships with guys on and off the ice, it really translates, to the ice, and I think it's showing. We never get down. We never think we're out of the game. We never give up, and with an attitude like that, the sky's the limit for us. So.
Well, Chris, I know it's been a long path for you coming to Augusta, but we're glad you're here, and we want to thank you for coming on the show. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot. Chris Ferazzoli. All right, welcome back to Hawk Talk. I want to thank Somewhere in Augusta Sports Bar and Grill again for hosting this fine event, and we'll get on with our final guest of the evening, RiverHawks General Manager Mark Richards. Mark, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Now, normally we do coaches, we do players on the show, but
I want my 5 questions.
Yeah, you okay? Well, have you played hockey before? Are you a hockey player at all?
I played for a little bit.
Okay, well, good. Do you have a greatest hockey moment? Anything, or was it all just downhill?
I don't know. I have a lot that I probably have to differentiate between. Being drafted by the Winnipeg Jets was certainly fun.
Okay, yeah.
Winning 3 championships they were all equally fun. So, and certainly progressing from player to the dark side or the evil side of management, I guess, has been a challenge and fun as well. And I've enjoyed most of my career. I've been in minor league hockey for about 18 years now, so it's been a long road.
Now, there had to be a couple hockey injuries in there, right?
I broke every finger on this hand.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay, yeah. How about, was there any game day ritual or anything?
We don't have enough time.
No? Okay.
No, I'll throw in the nap. I took a nap. As I got older, I really stopped sleeping as much as I did when I was younger, much like Chris. pointed out earlier, but I mean, I had a lot of things going on during the game that I didn't think were ritual, but were more habit for me, just to make me feel comfortable in the surroundings.
Chris made him sound like he's 45 years old or something. He's only 30. He's not that old. I hope 30's not old. I'm almost there. But no, it's interesting to hear what all these players do and the different things. But so you do. Let's talk about that transition because you were in hockey, you were on the ice, you were a coach, and you were a coach for Bob Kersner, the owner of the RiverHawks, when he was in PD and then Winston-Salem. But then you kind of got away from it. Why did you get away from that? Why did you go instead of player and coach? Why did you then go to the general manager? What made you decide to go that route?
I just think that it was almost natural progression for me. I sat around and being a coach for Bob back in Winston-Salem and certainly in PD it was almost equal. And there was a progression there as well as a coach for the first year in PD, and then the second year I was a total role, and I was that as well in Winston-Salem. It's just I think there's a lot more to. It's a new challenge. There's different ways to market your club. There's different ways to get these guys back to. I mean, I played back against the Lynx in the heyday of minor league hockey when we'd come into town and the building would be filled, and they'd come to PD when I was an enemy at one time, and our building was filled. So I can relate to some of those success stories, especially in some of these markets in the South, and I think I really believe that it can be rekindled. Maybe not to the effect that it once was, but I certainly think that there's enough people in all these cities that once loved this game and enjoyed a night out and had fun and were entertained by guys. And I think somewhere in the early 2000s that fan-player relationship got lost. And I can remember vividly in PD coming out after games and there's 2,000 people there for a tailgate party, and we're out with the fans and enjoying the meal and having a beer and talking about games. And I really think that's important in establishing relationships and building friendships. And as I still have in every city I played in, I still have friends. So I think now it's almost too regimented where it's business. You know, there's a flip side to this that we've got to relate better to our fans.
Yeah, and I guess around here during that time, if you were from PD, you were the enemy. So maybe there's some people here who want to apologize afterwards. Yeah, because I'm sure things were said and whatever. Yeah, but welcome to the good side for coming to Augusta.
I appreciate it.
So, I know, in between PD and Winston and then coming here, you went off to the New York area or New England with a new venture out there, a new league, and we're getting ready to start that, but then decided to come here instead. Why come here? I guess you talked about that, the past and knowing this area, and I'm sure that had a little bit of it, but what was the goal in coming here instead of staying up there?
Really? In all honesty, it was for Bob Kersner. I know the guy has a hard goal. He wants to see this work. He pays his bills, which is very rare at this level. And we have never, in 4 years that I've been in different cities, he's never left the city with a bill. And he's just a genuine human being. I mean, that's very rare to find in minor league hockey. And I wanted to work for him, and when he called me, I was, I'm in. I want to come back.
Yeah. So you get here. They had the opening weekend, which wasn't what everyone expected, I guess. Then you're here the following weekend, and I know you didn't do a lot of proactive stuff. I mean, you didn't do a lot of stuff. You were just kind of observing that first weekend, which is good. You need to get an idea of what's going on. What did you see that first weekend that you were here, and what did you see? Don't throw anybody under the bus or anything, but what did you see, and what could you tell needed to work on?
I saw a good core. That's what I saw. I saw we have a good foundation here. We have loyal employees that were working hard at the games. It just might not have been translated to them. And everybody's different. I have different ideas of how I think we should entertain fans. And we're slowly trying to get to that stage. And I hope everybody understands that it's not an automatic flip switch that we come in and just bang, bam, bam, and change all this. We've had a couple of different PA announcers the last few games. I mean, everything in the minor leagues isn't really set in stone. So we've got a long way to go. And I think my main goal really is to see progress, whether it's from our game operations side, whether it's from more people in the stands, whether it's from our corporate relationships, to getting our players out in the community more, to be able to communicate on a regular basis with the people that are coming to watch us play and in essence paying our bills. So I mean, that's the important part for me.
Well, we had a question emailed into us. If you have a question for any of the coaches or players, you can email me, billy.byler, B-Y-L-E-R, at AugustaChronicle.com. The question posed to you, and you saw what the crowd was like. When you were with PD, you came to Augusta, saw what that was like. And even up to a few years ago, even when the Lynx weren't doing all that great, they still had some decent crowds. What do you feel is the main reason that close to half of the previous fan base, they're just not there anymore? And obviously, it's still early for you, but do you have a sense of why there's a problem here?
I don't know if it's really a problem. I don't know. I'm a flip side kind of guy, and that's the way I think. I mean, we've got a core base of 1,400 people that are coming every night, and I think that's a positive for us. Now it's finding and being creative, and maybe it's through different ticket plans, maybe it's through us getting out to schools, doing different stuff with people, maybe it's through more community relations, whatever, building off the 1,400, 1,500 rather than saying, geez, this is crummy, we only have 1,400, 1,500. 1,400 is a good base for a city that went through some issues with the past team. And, nobody's proud or happy where we're at, but I think it's a great starting point. So I think we can build off of that. So 600 here would be
yeah. Well, and so there are, I guess you could say, small things in the works right now, and then you guys are building later on, long term down the road. Can you talk about some of those small things? I know you mentioned earlier to me the teddy bear toss, which was pretty big and pretty popular back a few years ago. There's a text messaging thing going on that I saw started today, which is pretty cool, and I think will help bring in a younger crowd. Talk about what some of the little things we're going to see in the near future.
Well, I mean, as I kind of talked about earlier, I don't think it's a turn the light switch on thing. I mean, we don't have really a set promotion for Saturday because it wasn't scheduled before I got here. So instead of just throwing something against the wall and hoping it sticks, I'd rather make sure that when we promote something, we try to do it right. I don't want to have just a promotion to say we have a promotion. That's counterproductive in my eyes. So, I mean, we're trying to put together a promotional schedule. We're working with companies. We're out trying to solicit ticket sales. We're trying to get corporate sponsors to get onto these nights. And I think as time goes on, you will see the progress. I mean, my main focus really, and our office's focus right now is our January 8th game. That's a target date that we set. We're having a military themed night, and I know to date, I think in the last week we've sold close to 400 already upperable seats. So we're really trying to get a great number in that night. Show that we do have the fan support in this town, and let some other people come in that haven't been to a game maybe yet this year and say, wow, this really is a good place to be and a good place to invest some dollars at a corporate level.
Yeah, last week, I'm sure you didn't really realize it or know it, but last week there was a certain milestone, not milestone, but anniversary, I guess, Last week, it was 2 years ago where the old hockey team shut down, and really was a kind of a heartbreaker, especially for the hockey community, and caught a lot of people off guard. And so I think there's an edge or an uneasiness among some people in the hockey community wondering, how long is this going to last? How long can this keep going? Has ownership, Bob Kersner and Diane, have they showed a willingness to be patient, to let this kind of gradually grow?
We've definitely talked about that a lot. I know it was discussed before I came down here. I mean, I wasn't going to leave a job to sit here for 3 or 4 months and have it go away. I mean, he understands that there is a process involved in this. Obviously, we'd all like to be further along in that process, but I think he understands the importance of building relationships back up and building fan trust and loyalty back up. And I'll be honest with you, he's happy right now. The club's playing well. Brad's done a good job turning that around from a kind of a dismal start, at least. We started out a little poor, but we're very competitive. We're young, we work hard, and we hired some additional help in the front office. We're talking to another person to bring in. So there's progress there, and as long as we're moving forward with it, he's very happy with the direction it's going.
Well, again, it seems like we're almost out of time already, and we want to talk to you a little bit more, but that's all right. Thanks for coming on the show. Will you come back again?
Absolutely.
Okay, that'd be great. All right, want to say thanks again. Thanks for Mark Richards coming on the show.
Thank you.
And that'll do it. See that.
Mic's off. Okay.
When I cut the mic off, you know it's time to go. That's all the time we have this week. I'd like to thank Somewhere in Augusta Sports Bar and Grill for their hospitality. I'd also like to thank our guests, head coach Brad Ralph, center Chris Ferazzoli, and general manager Mark Richards. Also want to thank my buddy Cage Matafi over here, who did a nice job tonight. Hawk Talk is a production of the Augusta Chronicle. I'm your host, Billy Byler. Be sure to pick up a newspaper out there or check out AugustaChronicle.com for all the latest news and information. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you next week on Hawk Talk.